Welcome to Uxbridge Beat, the podcast where we feature the who's who of Uxbridge, Ontario. My name is Jennifer Nevu-Campsell.
And I'm Scott Campsell, and we are happy to be your hosts on this unique journey about our town. If you're familiar with TikTok, you are definitely familiar with today's guest, Melissa Pateras.
TikTok, it's Melissa O'Clock. Melissa is a social media phenom who exploded the internet with her parody video of her kids during the pandemic, and then moved into everything from laundry, home DIY, and cock talk.
That's right, cock talk.
You know, cock. Like from a cock and gun. Yeah, she spends a lot of time on that subject too.
Well, then let's find out more about what puts the beat into this laundry folding, cock and gun wonder.
Welcome to the Uxbridge Beat. Melissa, we wanted to have you on an episode because we are really interested in finding out more about who the Melissa is behind all of the social media fame, and because we thought you would be hilarious to talk to. So be hilarious.
All right.
No,
I'm just getting my funny on now. Just give me a minute.
So tell us about your Uxbridge roots. Were you born here? Were you raised here?
I was born and raised, born in the Uxbridge Hospital. Never
when
left.
there was a maternity ward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I never left. I left for 1 year. We bought a house in Brooklyn, and I couldn't stand my address not being Uxbridge. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I could not stand writing it down. It didn't feel right. Came back to Uxbridge and never left.
So you are a social worker by
Yes.
employ? And
Yes.
what's your education with that?
Yeah, well, actually, my education is law and corrections.
Oh.
So I did start in corrections.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was going to be great. I started at Kingston Penitentiary, and I thought it was just going to be fantastic. What a great experience. And I had started in minimum security, and then I went to Kingston Pen in the prison for women, and I thought, oh, this is terrible. It's not what I thought it was. I don't know why I thought it would be fulfilling. It was just counting people all day.
Oh.
That's all I did was I'd count them, and I would go through their cells, take out their weapons twice a day, because I'd just make them again in the afternoon, and then we would do another sweep in the afternoon, and then we would count them again. And I thought, this is horrible. This is not what I thought it was going to be. So that's when I thought, you know what, I will stick to the counseling social work aspect. And then I worked with kids for 10 years until I got burnt out, because they do that too.
Well, going back to corrections, so you counted every day how many people were there. You ever come up short?
No.
Oh, good.
Never did.
Well done. Good job.
Well done.
Never did. I do have some awful funny stories from corrections.
Okay, tell us one.
Okay, one story was that every day I would go to this guy's cell, and he had taken the cushions from the lounge. They were cushions. They
Like
were
a common room
removable.
type thing? Yeah, okay.
And I said, look, I have told you, I don't know how many times, you got to stop doing this. He's like, but I'm old, you know? And I said, and you need to clean this up. This is not okay. You got to clean this up. This is a mess. And he said, you know, 2 other women in my life told me to clean up. And he was in there for murdering his wives, right? So, yeah, I always thought that was pretty funny.
That's a bit of a direct threat.
Yeah, I mean, I had to give, it was funny. I mean,
Over
it was
cushions.
funny. Yeah.
Imagine if he didn't fold his laundry right.
But you just put your head down, really. I mean, you put your head down, and actually working with men was a lot better than women, because men were, funny enough, were pretty respectful working with them. But really, I just thought I would change the world and work with kids. Again, that was not as what I thought it was going to be. That was difficult, and it was hard. I think it affected me. And then at a point where I realized it wasn't affecting me anymore, it was time to go. Because it should be affecting you. And I was working directly with the Children's Aid Society, and it was tough. And now I work with adults, and it's the best ever. And I said when I first started my job, this is the first job where my clients have actually liked me, right? Because nobody in a prison really likes you unless you're giving them something, like you're good for something in jail. And with kids, they don't really like you because they don't want to be there, right? They don't want to be wherever you've put them, wherever it is. If you've put them in long-term care, if you've put them in receiving an assessment, they want to be home. And kids, no matter what their parents do to them, they want to be with their parents for the most part. So they hate you too. But then when I got into adults, I thought, oh my God, it's great. They say good morning to me. It's the best. It's really good. So.
Are you always in the same place?
I am now. I'm a senior manager, and I actually oversee all of the day supports. So adults with developmental disabilities and mental health. So they come to me for their day services, anything like that. Something a lot of people don't know is that I'm also the manager of maintenance. So because I
Can do the things.
I don't hands-on do a lot of it, but yeah, I have 11 homes that I oversee and a fleet of vehicles. So I'm transportation and maintenance as well on the side as being, day support. It's kind of crazy how that has evolved, but cutbacks and everything else in our sector is not funded very well.
So is this a regular 9 to 5 type job?
Yeah.
And that's in Scarborough.
Yes.
So that's at least a 40-minute drive from here?
I'm over that. Yeah. I'm a little over an hour in the morning and between an hour and 2 on the way home.
Okay, so you have a regular 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And then now you put another full-time job of being a parent, and then one more full-time job of being a social media influencer.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Have you lost your mind yet?
Yes. Time and time again. I sometimes do wonder how I do it because I have ADD. My brain never stops. It never shuts off. And I don't do a lot of sleeping because social media is one thing, but it's coming up with the content every day. That drive where I used to listen to sports radio. Or the news even. I don't do that anymore. It's just everything's off and I'm just thinking. I have to use every minute to think because I'm writing things in my head. I'm constantly writing things on my phone in notes. I've got paper everywhere, pads everywhere because I need to write down ideas or somebody said something to me. And yeah, it's
Were you an early social media adopter? Like MySpace, Facebook when it first came out? Did you jump on that quickly?
I was Facebook because it came out and it seemed like everybody was doing it. It was a great way to kind of reconnect with, I mean, the point of it was to reconnect with people you went to high school with and maybe childhood friends that you did, that had moved away and relatives. So I did that right at the beginning, which I think was 07 maybe was Facebook.
Okay, so why TikTok?
Well, I did Facebook and always was on Facebook, and I wasn't addicted to Facebook, but I mean, I was always on it. I would post stuff here and there, I think like everybody else. And then when the pandemic hit, I was, home for a short period of time, very short period of time, because I've been working the entire time, right? I'm not working from home or anything, but at the very beginning when everything was shut down and nobody knew what we were, it was kind of funny because we thought, this is going to be fun for a couple weeks, stay home.
You make sourdough.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Everybody was sort of, building these bunkers and towards the end of it thinking, it's going to be hard to get toilet paper. It's going to be hard to get, it was still funny though, right?
Yeah.
And getting flour and yeast. And the kids were getting annoying. They were getting, it was like they were just there all the time. And I do like tidy.
Because they couldn't leave.
They wouldn't go. Yeah. And it was just, it's fine. My son was playing video games, but it was the other two and you were just there. So it was just either talking or making a mess or I'm hungry. That was a big one. And I thought, I don't think you're hungry. I think you're bored.
Yeah.
Like it was constantly snacks for the little one. And I thought, this is insane. And then I just spent a lot of time watching them, which is when I did a video, but I had done a couple more and I thought, I can't believe it. It's got 10,000 views. Like, why would anybody watch my little video that I made in quarantine because I was bored? It was a joke, like we all hate each other. So I had done this thing where I flipped up signs.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then it was like 10,000 at the time. And I thought, I'm thinking, this is so strange. And then I did a video and it blew up, but I didn't even know it was blowing up.
Which one was that?
It was the kids in quarantine one where I was acting like the kids.
Oh, with the toothpaste on the counter and spitting on the mirror. Yeah, that was it got picked up by Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was because when it happened, I went up to my daughter's room and woke her up at like 1 a.m. and I said, what is this? Like what? Because I didn't even understand. My phone wouldn't stop lighting up and I wasn't used to these notifications. And then people were writing comments on my video. They were like, South Africa. And I thought, well, I'm used to like Dave Barton.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's cool, Mel. That's awesome. Right? I wasn't used to this. And then before I knew it, it was like 30 million views, which is huge for Facebook.
I don't think anyone I've ever talked to has said, I'm used to Dave. I'm still not used to Dave.
I bet Sonia's not even used to it.
Yeah, I bet. But, okay, carry on.
Listen, he does take some time to get used to it. No, I mean, I was
Love you, Dave.
it just wasn't what I just didn't know. And then that happened. And then that sort of changed the trajectory of my life, which is funny because yes, it did change things. However, how I've sort of the route I've gone now is completely different than what that was. So that video was nothing like what I do now.
So it was totally non-deliberate, unintentional.
No.
You just stumbled on it, didn't know what you were doing, and now
I didn't.
you've got notepads all over the place and you're basically script writing all the time.
Yeah, because, initially it was just bored because my daughter filmed it and it was my first taste of negativity. It was my first taste of trolls, and I was just trying to sort out how that was. It was very bizarre because I'd never faced anything like that. I had a great high school life. People always ask, oh, what's your coming out story? Oh, it must have been so hard. Not really. I mean, I had a pretty good life.
Yeah.
I had friends. I didn't have any issues.
How awesome is that, right?
Yeah. So I've been very, very fortunate. And then all of a sudden I get these people saying, well, those kids are obviously adopted, which is fine. I was like, oh, I never really even thought about that. Why you would. And then I had done sort of a clapback video stating, like, I apologize. Like, I know that was a lot of gay in that video. I did write my name on a Subaru. I get it, And I had done this like clapback, and then that went huge. That was big. And here I was thinking, what am I doing? Plus, I look horrible. I can't get a haircut. There's now an expectation that I'm like every day posting stuff. And I thought, well, I'll just make a joke of it because my hair is so bad. So
that's when your daughter cut your hair.
Well, not even, because then I was just I would dress like a celebrity who had a photo, right? Because I was making fun of my hair. So I did like Footloose because it was growing out. It was just horrendous. And right. And I didn't know what else to do. And then we were now all of a sudden it was Easter. And what were we going to do for Easter? Like how was I going to get things? I don't buy my kids chocolate really. They don't really eat it. So I always buy them like toys for Easter. And I was like, where am I going to get it? Then I did a video about that, of getting everything from the Home Depot, which was kind of a joke. Then it just kept going. It was the photos. They were waiting for the photos every day of me doing some celebrity with my bad hair. And then it was videos. And then I thought, well, how do I come up with stuff every day? I don't know what to talk about because it was just to cure
so
boredom.
now why? You have notepads all over the house. You totally altered your life. I've got a TikTok channel, but it's not bringing in 1.2 million, which is understandable. And yet maybe not because you didn't expect to get 1.2 million. So,
no.
But now you're feeling this obligation to make content. So why the obligation?
I still didn't feel at that point necessarily the obligation per se right away. I felt like I was reading the comments because I'm a big one on reading comments and responding. I just always have been. I think that's important because you've taken the time, you've watched my video, you followed me, and you wrote something, you deserve a response. And I was reading them and people were like, this is such a hard time. You are getting me through this. And then it was more pressure that I felt people were relying on it as a daily, forget about your woes. Just watch this, whether it's 15 seconds or 15 minutes. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing it because people are enjoying it and they're just forgetting about their troubles. So that's why I kept doing it. Sometimes it was funny and sometimes it wasn't, because as I started to grow in popularity, I thought I had some sort of a responsibility to speak to things like, I had a platform. So there were certain things that I would speak about in videos.
I saw one video about tipping.
Yeah.
I thought that was really educational.
Yeah, so that's just it. Like I would talk about sometimes big topics because there was that person who they wouldn't do a videographer thing for a gay couple. So I talked about that. I talked about tipping, just all sorts of things, big topics. But I would mix in the other things, and people were really enjoying the Facebook groups because I've always made fun of Facebook groups. But I feel like I always said things in my head or aloud in my house, right? I didn't say it on a public forum. And then I started joining all these Facebook groups because people were loving it. And I would do like a 20-minute segment on the funny posts in mom groups, right? Like, what does everybody think this rash is on my kid?
Yes,
right?
exactly.
It's like,
we have a voice for that. It goes like this.
Does anybody know?
Yeah,
always.
Does
The grocery
anybody know?
store's open.
Are the lines long at Sarah's today?
Does anybody know, was that gunshots?
Yeah.
Was it backfire or gunfire?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's July 1st. I'm pretty sure it was fireworks. Is everybody, my power's out. Does anybody know if theirs is open? Because my power, it's constant.
And then the next step is ask Dave. Yeah, like
Ask Dave.
I said that. That's how Dave and I sort of even became closer, because every time I'd see him, I laugh because he'd be tagged in every post 80 times. And it's like, what do you expect him to do? And then the crime page, I loved that because it was reporting of crimes that were hilarious. Like somebody pushed the swings up so that they looped all around. So it was fantastic. I was like, this is amazing content. And I would have American groups and stuff like that too. But anyways, people really liked it, but that was a lot of work.
Pardon my ignorance. How does the financial portion of TikTok work? Do you...
No financial.
Absolutely. You don't get paid for anything.
No, and I think that is something that a lot of people don't know. Americans have a creator fund, and we don't have it in Canada. So I make absolutely no money. I don't take anything from anybody. There's a lot of most creators have a PO box, and people will send them money and gifts. And
But you don't get a sponsor or sponsors asking you to do things like product reviews?
I do get some product stuff, but I don't. I'm not a big believer in promoting something that I either don't care about, have never used, or used once. I just don't do that. The only thing I do is I have an Amazon page with my favorites, which are actual items that I've either done a TikTok with, and even that I would say I would be maybe $5 a month I get from that.
So that's a massive amount of time.
It's
with
massive,
like earth-shattering amount of time with not a huge or any financial retribution for it.
No, it's the craziest thing. Like, why do you do it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so honest answer, why do you do it?
Yeah, I do it because it is fun. And, during the pandemic, because you have to think this is a relatively short, I mean, who'd have thought we'd be still here, but it is a relatively short period of time that all this has happened.
Yeah.
And people like it. And one of the common things that I see on my TikTok is, I needed this today, right? So, because most of my TikToks are funny or silly, but yeah, people are just constantly like, I needed this today. I've had such a bad day. I needed this. So I just kept doing it. And then, because at the beginning of TikTok, like I didn't know what I was doing. I tried it. It was horrible. I did a video. I did a couple of little dances with my little 8-year-old. And then I did a transition one, which was because I was interested in the sort of editing aspect of things. And I thought, that's cool. I can do that. It was just a transition where you change clothing, but you can't really tell, that sort of thing. And that blew up. And then it was like just about 1 million views. And I didn't even know what was happening. I didn't know how it worked. And then the comments on there were so upsetting because I didn't know I was a middle-aged lesbian. I don't feel like middle-aged.
Thank goodness for TikTok that you learned this.
They outed you.
So, and I was like, oh, everybody's talking about how Facebook is so negative, but here I go on TikTok and people are writing like, oh, mommy. And then people are writing, I'm upping my Tinder age range. And I thought, this is terrible. But it blew up. And then I thought, this is weird. I didn't know that. So I went off TikTok for a while, took a break because I was just I couldn't believe I was old. And they were certainly nice comments.
This is like when you go down the number and are you between the ages of 35 to 40? No. Next line. You are.
I know. Well, that's what I mean when you're signing up for something online and you got to do that dial for the year you were born, and sometimes it feels like.
What do you mean 1980 was 40 years ago? What are you talking about?
I know. Well, and it feels like the Price is Right wheel. Yeah. Right? And sometimes you got to spin it way back.
I used to run competitively, and when you'd hit that upper edge of the 10-year group, you were fast.
Right.
So I was winning races at 29, and then the next one was 30. I was like, those bitches are competitive, man.
Exactly.
I am dead in the next decade. I am done.
Well, and it's just, I don't even think you realize, because your mind is an age, right? And you forget, and you're kind of, I don't
You go on Facebook, you go, look at that person. Boy, they're really old now. They've really aged.
And then you're like, oh, wait, we're the same age, right? Or why does he have gray hair, right? And it's like, oh. And they weren't negative. They were the funniest comments, but it affected me in a way that I know that the people leaving the comments didn't know that they'd affect me. So I just took a break, went back to Facebook.
That's where the old people go.
Yeah, and that's where the nice people, they all loved me on Facebook. They loved me and they were nice to me and they just loved my videos and it made their day, and they always spit their coffee out when they were watching it. And they always needed a towel, and I could have given them warning, right? Like, there's always these great comments.
Emoji.
Yeah, that's
so why do you do it? Because it made you feel good.
It does. Yeah, and it is, which it's this beast, right? It's this constant, because you know certain things about social media, but until you're there, which is what TikTok does. They hook you and then they do stuff so that you keep going. It's like a high. When you have a video that does really well,
Okay,
generally,
so why do you feel the need for that?
it's what happens.
It's endorphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I get it. I understand. Like
You get that.
Yeah, we've said it before when we're teaching karate, and you get a whole bunch of students that are all surrounding you, and I've taught for groups of 50 to 200 people at one point, and there's a high. And I've had teachers that I watch, and there's times where you're their demonstration partner, and now they've got to show the techniques, and we call it being on the jazz. Like we steal from the A team. You're on the jazz, and you're not thinking about what you're doing. You are just doing it. And there's been times I've seen guys get concussions because the teacher just was on the jazz. And jiu-jitsu is one of the biggest things where you watch people and they explain how to do a choke, and meanwhile they're choking out the guy that they're demonstrating, and they forget that they're, by the way, your receiver's asleep. Like,
No, I mean, that's funny because I teach self-protection skills. It's one of the things that I teach because I work with very aggressive people. And yeah, one of the things actually is teaching somebody to be in control of their own strength and emotions during a stressful time, because sometimes we tend to forget that, that choking thing. Yeah.
but when you're performing, there's a jazz, there's a feedback.
I teach a few different courses in relationship management and that sort of thing. And a lot of people will say, I don't care what other people think. But that's a complete lie, because it is human nature that we want people to like us, right? You want to be wanted, you want to be liked, and you want positive feedback. And sometimes on social media, that's what you get. It's just like feeding you constantly.
Yeah.
And I was having videos that were being pretty well received at the beginning, but they were just a mix, because whatever I feel like doing that day, I would do. And then I did a video about my neighbor, which really wasn't about my neighbor. It was just a joke. I absolutely love her. She's an older lady. And I was doing a takeoff on another serious TikTok. And then that one went really big. But then I just kept doing same old, and it was doing well.
You feel like crap when they don't do well?
Now I do. Now that I understand, because even at the beginning, I really understand. And as crazy as it sounds, I was busy and I didn't really fully understand it. And I wasn't doing it every day. I would just do it for something to do. And I was still doing Facebook. So I was balancing both, which really is difficult to do. And then I was following people, and I watched this Hannah Bread Talk, who makes bread seductively to music. And I thought, oh, this is great. What a great niche she's got. And it wasn't about her looks. It wasn't about anything. It was just eye contact, the music, and the world was falling in love with bread. But I don't think anybody was making bread. They were watching Hannah, who I'm now friends with. Really good friends with her. She's lovely. But I just watched her and I thought, this is fantastic. And I had said to my daughter, I have to duet this girl. But obviously I can't make bread. What am I going to do? She's like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't even, that's dumb. I don't even want
to. It's your kid. Yeah.
She's like,
You're so weird, Mom.
Yeah. She's like, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. And I said, okay, well, whatever. I'm going to do my laundry folding. And she's like, oh, whatever. And that's how it blew up. Like I don't even know how many followers I had when I did that. And it was just all of a sudden, it just blew up. And people wanted to see me folding. People wanted to see my drawers and my closets. And I knew I was weird. I always knew, because, we'd have people over to the house and they would be weirded out by my closet, or weirded out and say like,
so you're absolutely OCD with that stuff?
Yeah.
You had people over at your house to look at your closet?
Yeah, because people come over and they always want a house tour. And they'd walk by the closet and they would say like, what the hell, why, oh my God, right? Or they would say like, why is your house so clean? Or,
we close our closet. Like we can give you a house tour, but the closet's off.
Yeah, see, I don't care.
Okay.
Like, why would I care if it's open? I don't have anything I don't have any junk drawers. I don't have anything. Everything has its place. Like, I don't care.
Nobody likes it when you brag.
No.
He likes to show off.
People would always come over though and say just that, like, how do you have kids? I just don't leave their junk all over, right? I just don't. I just tell them to clean up, and it wasn't
the dog
like
toys are all in one little corner. Normally they're all over the place, but
And the dogs in the crate.
I don't like the feeling of having to
the dogs
panic.
In the crate.
I don't want the feeling of having to panic if someone's coming over.
Right.
And I'd love it to be like it was in the 50s. where if somebody knocks on your door, the whole family gets up. They're so excited. They can't wait. Now we hit the deck, army crawl, everybody.
Was it
Yeah,
Sebastian?
Maniscalco. Yeah.
Get the Sanka.
Well,
Don't let him move.
Back then, everybody, you'd be so excited to have
Yes.
a guest
Yeah.
because, and nowadays, like, people just avoid it. They don't even answer the door.
So you started folding laundry with Hannah making bread.
Well, yeah, but I didn't even, because she does very short videos. So I just did this really short, quick. It was more about the eye contact back with her and how it was just making it funny. And I wore the same headband as she did. And then people liked it. So then I think the next video I did, and the title wasn't what I was folding. It was I used to be funny. And now I'm just the laundry lesbian because they'd given me this name. And they directed it all. They said, oh, you should come out of the dryer.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, no, really, put the camera in the dryer because Hannah does it in the fridge because Hannah always opens the fridge and talks to the fridge. So then I was like, okay.
Oh,
that makes sense.
Yeah, we spun that totally different. Just come out of the
Like
closet.
actually come out of the dryer?
Yeah.
No, and I was like, okay, I guess. And then it sort of adapted. But one of my first ones was saying that. And then I did like closet porn where I just showed people my closet. Then I showed them my drawers. And then, people would duet it. So then off of that, somebody did a video that said, oh, do you ever, like when Melissa shows your drawers, and I made a joke and pretended to take my pants off.
Yeah.
And then that was sort of the start of like innuendo. Right? Or people would say, wait a second, we like your closet and stuff, but what's in that brown bin up there?
Oh.
So then I would make a joke. I'd fill it with a bunch of stuff. And then the innuendo was born. I don't know. And then it was just constant. And then my friend Courtney did a caulking video. She does a lot of DIY stuff. And then I thought I would duet her because she's got this regular caulk gun, but I've got a massive one. So I kind of duetted her. And then from there was born Caulk Talk. So, I mean, and I've constantly said to people, caulking's not really it's not really a thing. It's not really that complicated, but it has become this huge thing and people want a certain amount of caulk talk and a certain amount of laundry talk. And I never...
So you branched out.
I do a lot of different things. So because most people stick to a niche. That's the rule of TikTok. You find your niche because everybody's wanting to build for I have no idea what. That wasn't what I was ever intending on doing, but was like pick a niche and stick with it. And I was like, but I'm doing it for fun. So I'm not picking a niche. I'll just do what I want to do to a certain degree and mix it up. So I've always mixed it up. So I'll do DIY stuff. I'll do home hacks. I'll do the caulk talk.
So the brand is now you.
Now it's,
yeah.
And, I've since had to, I think I own every website that has anything to do with Caulk Talk and Laundry Talk. I have to own all those, because there's so many issues with people stealing my name now that was given to me. I'm not Laundry Talk, that's just my thing, right? But I mean, then it just went crazy. It absolutely went crazy. And I had done some books for adults on Facebook. Those were well received. So I tried them on TikTok. They did well. People have this thing with my voice. I have no idea what it is, but they're just like this ASMR thing. I don't know. So then they're like, you could read us a phone book. So I'll do silly things like that. It's just my voice. But yeah, I don't know. It has absolutely gone crazy. And
you're still having fun with it.
I am.
Yeah.
There was a period of time where I had a bit of a stalker situation and it was scary. It was uncomfortable. I guess you don't think about a lot of things because I'm very open with where I live. I'm proud of living here and growing up here. Dave and I have done lots of TikToks back and forth. Mm-hmm. People are very interested in the prank wars with Dave.
Those were great. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun with that. But I think with this popularity, let's say, comes a lot of other things. And because I do respond to comments. And this is where I learned not to open any sort of messages or DMs because on Facebook, I was trying to answer people. I was trying to be polite and answer everybody. And then out of that stemmed this stalker issue. And it was really bad. And it was very widespread. So they were affecting every aspect of my life. And it affected a lot of other big creators on TikTok because they went after every big creator because of me. And they were writing it on their stuff and my daughter. So once it hit my daughter, I was sort of done with it. Anyways, it was police involved and that person doesn't live in Canada. So what I want you to do is call the police in the US and tell them that you're 46 years old and you're on TikTok and there's this person. They're like, just block them. And I'm like, no, it's yeah, I can block them, but they have 5,000 fake accounts. And they're like, this is silly. I'm like, no, I promise I'm I'm a grown woman. It's just that this is affecting. And they're like, well, what are they going to do? Come over? I'm like, I don't know. As soon as the borders open, I have no idea. I don't know. Anyways, in the end, they got involved. And it seems fine right now. But those are things that you don't think of when you're just shopping at Zayre's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't, because you're just folding laundry and you're just regular.
And suddenly you're a celebrity.
Well, it's weird, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Home improvement is the other niche that you're good at.
Yeah.
I happened to cruise through some of your videos and saw the exit video of your former house.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful house.
Thank you.
And you said you had renovated it all by hand and built furniture. What is your education in that, or did you just figure all that out?
Honestly, since I was a little kid, when everybody else was watching Commander Tom, I was watching this old house. And then I worked in construction for years, like as a teenager, and kind of, my brother-in-law's a carpenter, and just always was interested in it. So after working in construction, I just did it. And I've always renovated my own homes. And I started in a little bit of furniture making just to try stuff out, and end up renovating everybody I know for free, mostly family. And that's just how I kind of started. I mean, and that's my whole motto, is that anybody can do it.
No, I can't fold laundry. I have very few fine motor skills, with the exception of I can play piano. I can't even draw my name properly.
Well,
You
and a
would
lot of
vouch for this.
people-
I have no talent.
A lot of people would say that. Like I would say to you, I sound like a cat stuck in a dryer if I'm singing. And you're saying, okay, yes, but with a little practice, you wouldn't make my ears bleed, sort of thing, right? So and I'm saying to you, you could fix a hole in drywall if I showed you how, if you tried it. I want people to feel like okay with it, because women never try it and they say, no, I could never. And men feel a tremendous amount of pressure to be able to do stuff that who knows if they know how to do.
See, but I would totally be happy to try it. When I was a teenager, I did my own body work on my car.
Right.
And so I'm happy to try it. I just know that I'm just not very good at that. Just really not.
Well, it is just
I
practice.
can't even paint a corner properly. It's just practice.
And a lot of people think that. No, a lot of people think that about painting, and painting is one of the easiest things to do, right? It's very low skill. It's practice. It's time. Even like if I haven't painted for a month and I try to cut in a line at the beginning, I'm like, okay, right? And then once you get it, right? It's just practice. It's just practice.
I
And
don't
do
want
it a
to
lot.
practice.
And that's just
There
it,
you
right?
go.
A lot of people are like, that's fine.
Nope.
I'd rather just hire somebody or get, somebody I know to help
I'm going to go
us.
practice piano.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to go do.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
What you put your time to, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, sure, you can talk about what you can do as far as choral conducting and singing, and I can talk about my martial arts stuff. You're renovating houses, doing TikTok videos, and saving the world. But so, yeah. Wow, do we ever sound like we're totally crap now?
No, but it's playing to your strengths, right?
Yeah.
You
Well,
play
and
to your
that's,
strengths.
and I'm sure that you do a lot of research when you're Googling. Maybe it's music related, maybe it's different ideas for songs, for choir, whatever you're doing. Whereas I'm looking up the stretchiest cock I can find because I've got to do this, that, and the other, and I need what's going to take off acrylic paint. Like, what is that? What is the chemical? Blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm researching. You're
When
just
I look
researching
up
something
stretchiest
different.
cock and you find that browser history, it just doesn't ever work out
That's
well.
my favorite. I did a TikTok on Big Stretch. It's a cock, right? And I love it. It's great.
But how did
It's
you
my
Google
favorite
that?
cock.
We're like, well, no.
With an
Yeah.
L.
We're definitely not looking at the images.
Yeah.
That's,
Exactly. Believe me, I've had some issues looking. Yeah, I've typed in, something to do with that, and I think, oh, that's not what I'm looking
Whoa,
for.
whoa. Okay, I'm going to be here for a while. Hold on.
we did one Halloween. We decided we were going to do a Halloween party for the students, and so the prize was that they could do a whipped cream pie on the instructors. And so one of my instructors, God bless him, but he decides that he wants to do a big sign that says in Japanese, whipped cream pie or something. I can't remember, or cream pie senseis or something. And so he's saying, he's giving me all these ideas of what he's going to do for the party. And he says, for the love of God, he sends an email back, and really quickly, like he says, this is what we're going to do. Boom, 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 boom. And then he emails almost in seconds later. He says, don't Google Japanese cream pie. He says, I was like, duly noted.
Exactly. That's funny.
So you went from a newer house where you were before. Now you're in a century home.
Yeah.
And so what are the challenges there? Or what's the most interesting thing you've discovered ripping out the walls there?
The whole thing is interesting. And I don't even know if I'd ever do a Century home again, but it's still been fun. You know, when you move into a new house, new isn't always best. It really isn't. You think it's new because it looks clean and it's fresh and everything's straight, but that's about where it ends. Because, you know, a lot of times in new builds, maybe the insulation's not great or there's things that aren't great. I've lived in lots of new houses. So I thought, well, if I tear everything down and restart, it'll be just as good. Well, I'm having to kind of work with uneven floors and walls that bend, and it's difficult for me because I'm a perfectionist. So one of the walls I took down, it was very cold in one of the rooms, and I took the wall down and I realized it was all sawdust insulation. So I thought, well, maybe that's why it's cold. So I thought, okay, we'll just gut this and then I'll insulate it. But there's so much stuff in the walls I thought was really neat. And I had done a TikTok about it because it was an old shoe. Which was like probably 1800s, I would imagine, because a lot of the newspapers are 1900s. And I did a TikTok on it and somebody said, you put the shoe back in. It's soles for souls. And I thought, okay, putting the shoe back in. So I'll put the shoe back in. But I found teacups, the most peculiar things that are in the wall. I think, look, I understand if a penny's back there, if you've got kicked under, but I don't understand why there's teacups and tools, all kinds of stuff behind the wall, which was really, really interesting.
Is there an historical significance to that house?
No, it's not plaqued.
Okay.
So, you know, I've had to do a lot of research on it, even to figure out the 1880. And look, because a lot of the town shots, any pictures seem to exclude my place. It's like from my place forward.
Oh.
You can't really see my house. But someone from the library sent me some stuff and some old pictures and stuff. And I do think it's 1880 because of the newspapers in the walls. And the people that I bought it from had done a ton of renovations. So I'm sure that they found stuff as well over the years. But it's just interesting. Really neat. And I did a lot of TikToks on the newspapers that I found because they were funny and interesting, and you know how much things cost or what the news was that they were reporting on. Should they do a streetcar in Toronto? Because, you know, there's not quite 100,000 people here yet. And, you know, New York did it and it wasn't a great success. Really, really interesting stuff. So it's been fun. I mean, I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm in a new relationship, and it's surprising that we're still in the relationship based on the renovations because it takes a lot to renovate. And it's horrible to live like that. And plus we're in a pandemic, so I had pre-planned everything. I was ready. I ordered supplies. I had contractors lined up for what I needed, but still everything's delayed. I had just got my appliances today and I bought them 7 months ago and I received them this morning. I have a fridge. I have been living out of my son's mini fridge and the wine fridge that the previous owners left. And the wine fridge just keeps things sort of cold. So we just put condiments in there that could be sort of cold. Right? So we've got the soya sauce, I figured doesn't have to be really cold, maybe the syrup, you know, but it's been brutal because every day we have to go out and buy food because it doesn't fit in the thing.
A lot of takeout?
So much takeout that I never want to have takeout ever again because it's every single day. And there's a lot of restaurants in town, but you can only eat at One Eye Jack so many times. And we've eaten everything off the menu. I mean, literally for 6 months, we've been eating out in town.
Hey, Amanda, your kids have grown so much.
Hi, Katie. Yeah, they're bigger now. Yours too. They seem to be doing well.
Honestly, the lockdowns and isolation have been really rough on us, but I got them into karate at Okami Kai, and it has made such a positive difference for them.
Really? Our family needs something so badly right now. They need to be moving and motivated.
Okami Kai Martial Arts and Fitness, striving to bring out the best in the community since 1999.
Look them up. The teachers are great, and the program is welcoming for all ages.
Okami Kai Martial Arts and Fitness.
So tell me about the origin of Tracy telling you about how she wanted carolers to come to the door.
Because she's from Australia, and here I am moving this poor Sydney, Australia, like world traveling tour guide to Uxbridge. I'm telling her it's a small town. She says, oh no, I grew up in a small town.
Not at minus 35, you didn't.
Well, and that's what I tried so hard to explain cold, but explaining cold and temperature is like explaining pain.
Yes.
It's not something that another person who hasn't experienced it can really understand.
But she's from Australia, but you're from here. So how did you guys connect? Maybe go back
on
to
TikTok.
It was on TikTok.
Yeah. We just kind of found each other on TikTok, and apparently TikTok is a dating app. Although I've never known that for myself. Like I never.
Apparently, everybody on TikTok wants to date you.
Well, it's
even the straight girl.
It's the straight woman phenomenon. Right. I don't know what it is. But no, I just saw her and I thought, oh my God, this girl's funny. Like, she's funny, and usually, you don't find all the things. And I thought, oh, she's funny. And then she duetted me, and that's just sort of, and then we just started talking. But I mean, literally, I haven't talked to anybody else on TikTok because I don't open my DMs. And even when she had messaged me, I didn't even know because I didn't check it. It wasn't until I went to message her that I realized she had already messaged me. So we meet, we talk, which is, in a way, super embarrassing because, like, how do I explain that? I'm a grown woman. I met somebody on TikTok. We talk for usually 6-8 hours a day for 10 months. What is happening? This is insane that I would video chat somebody for this long. This is crazy. So we're talking, and then we very quickly decide, like, she's going to have to come here. It's not, I have kids, so I'm not going there. And plus I hate to fly.
So she doesn't have any kids?
She has no kids.
Okay.
She says, yeah, I'll come there. I said, okay. And so we had to buy the house where she had never seen it. I was just showing her pictures. We'd video chat while I was looking at houses. So that was kind of weird.
It's a lot of
And
trust.
then, yeah. It was crazy. The whole thing, and having to keep it quiet because a lot goes with it. You can't just talk about it because, just because I'm in the public eye. So I kept it secret for a long time. Not secret, but private in the sense that I was going through a separation from much before that. But I think that because my ex and I lived together still, because we had the kids and we had to plan for the house, we didn't hate each other. We just lived in the same house until we got everything straightened out with the kids and the house and selling it and everything. So of course people think that I've had this
Clandestine relationship.
affair and all this stuff, but which is fine. I get that, but there's also my kids' privacy too. Like, I mean, it's their lives too. And they were going through the whole thing of we're moving. And I'm trying to explain to her that it's cold. It's simple things. Like, she thinks her feet are the greatest feet in the world. She loves her feet.
I saw that one with the flippy floppies and you were like, oh, please don't. No flippy floppies.
Well, because that's all. She's never had shoes. She never owned shoes. Now, that's not typical of Australians, but here I meet the one that doesn't own any shoes. She only wears flip-flops because she just loves her shoes. She's like, I should be a foot model. We always joke about it. And I'm like, okay, but have you ever had dry feet? She's like, dry feet? And I was like, you're going to get them here. That's what happens in the winter. I'm trying to explain to her, like, have you ever had dry skin? She's like, no, I don't know what that is. Never had dry skin. So never mind 30 below, because you can't explain that. I'm trying to explain other things that happen, like driving is tricky. We have snow tires. We have furnaces. They don't have furnaces. They don't have heat. So in the winter, they're cold, but they have heating blankets and winter sheets. That's about the extent of it. They don't really have fireplaces. There's so many differences. She's like, it's okay, I'll get it. And then so I think, I hope you can get here soon because I don't want you to come in the winter. I'd like you to get here soon so that you can work your way into it. And as it turns out, because there was so much paperwork we had to do and getting the exemption for her because they couldn't leave Australia. No one could go in and no one could leave. So even though she was free to leave, she couldn't leave. Even on a vacation, she couldn't leave the country. So we had to apply through lawyers and everything just to get an exemption. We got the exemption on the first go, which was surprising because a lot of people were taking 60, 70 times to try to do this process. So we got it on the first time. So she came on October 1st and it was October, but she thought it was cold.
Oh, honey.
So I'm like, oh, okay. We had it warmer than usual October. Like there were certain days that were warm. And so she's like, oh no, this isn't bad. I'm like,
get ready.
Yeah, this is not good.
I really hope you like me a lot.
And she's had some bad experiences. She wanted to go to Zayres and it was like a Monday night at 8 and she felt okay driving. And I have a Jeep, so I put it into 4-wheel for her and she knows how to drive. She calls me from there, upset.
Oh, no.
I don't think I can get home. I'm caught and it's like a snow tornado here.
Snow tornado.
Yeah. Well, you have to remember, like, we're like blocks from Zayres, and I'm looking out saying, look, no, it's not snowing. But I guess it just was the wind whipping the ground snow into, sometimes it gets those little...
Yeah, a snow tornado.
A snow tornado.
That's my new term for it.
She thought she was going to get swept up in it.
Yeah. That's my new term.
Safe.
I'm not in Uxbridge anymore, Toto.
That's what, and I was like, well, get in the car and just hold down. And she's like, you're making fun of me. And I said, I am, because there's no weather right now. Just drive home, right? So she comes home and she's in tears. And I said, oh, you're serious? You really are upset? She's like, I can't do this. This isn't for me. I was not built for this. And I said, look, it's
Just let me drive.
Don't.
I'll go to Zayre's.
She's like, that's why there was nobody there, because they all knew it was dangerous. I said, no, it was a Monday night. Nobody wants to go out. That's all that was. Nobody's afraid of no snow. That's just what it is. The roads are black. It's not like the roads were track set. The roads were black, right? And
nobody wants to go to Zayre's on a Monday night in Uxbridge.
Yeah, and the roads were black, so I was like, okay with it, because when it's snowing, she does have a hard time. She's like, the car's drifting, which is, we just adapt to that. We know. Yeah. So, she has struggled with the cold.
So you're worth it.
Well, I hope so.
So then she wants carolers.
So then she says...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that was the beginning of it. We got to cold.
So then we're getting into cold, and she's bought a parka. She's ready. She's bought the gloves. She got the texting gloves even, because she can't even take her gloves off. She's got the frostbite, and she always says she's got hypothermia.
Hypothermia.
Yeah, because she doesn't know what any of those are. I said, you don't have either of those, and you don't have the frostbite either. You're just cold. It's called cold. That's all it is. And just come in. Go inside. I don't understand. So we're getting through all this. We're getting the clothes. We're trying to get her clothes that are appropriate. She had to learn how to layer, because she always wears singlets, which she calls their tank tops, but they call them singlets.
Okay.
She's got boots. She's crying. She goes to John, the shoe store. He fits her with some Blundstones, because she says these are the funniest shoes I've ever heard. We don't have these in Australia. Right. You all just think these are our shoes.
Yes. Right.
Nobody wears Uggs in Australia. We sold them to the Chinese right away, and nobody ever wore them. It's hot. And nobody wears Blundstones in Australia. So I know you all think they're from Tasmania, but nobody wears them there. So she decides to get a pair of Blundstones. And she's crying every day because she can't walk in them. They hurt her feet because she's never worn shoes. So she's taping them up. John stretches them for her again. It's a constant battle because she's never worn shoes. And then she says, I am looking forward to Christmas. I'm looking forward to a white Christmas. Never had that. I don't even understand it. I've only ever seen it in movies. And she's been to New York a million times, but never in the winter. And so she's just excited about this. And I say, hey, it's going to be great. And I'm big on Christmas. It's a big deal. And she's like, oh, you have carolers, right? And I said, no, not really. What do you mean? And she said, no, you know how they come to your house and they're all dressed up and then they just sing. I love that. So she went to drama school. That's what she does. She's into singing and just all this stuff. And then she just put it all into one dream that she had seen in movies. And I said, not really. They don't really do that. And she was like, oh, I know they do because I have seen this movie and that movie. I said, no, that's a movie. I think that's pretty much a movie. And she says, oh, I would love that. And I think we could get lucky this year. You don't know that. You don't know. Maybe even a church group would come by. And I said, well, maybe. I think it might be the Jehovah's, but I don't think they're going to sing for you. That's the only people that are knocking at our door. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, and then I thought, well, I'm going to have to do this. And I thought, well, okay, I got to line this all up. And then I was getting the ring and thought, what if I can't find carolers? I don't even know where you find a caroler. So I had my sister post it in a group.
And so when your sister posted it, everybody and their dog tagged me in the post. And I was like, no, 22nd, 23rd, I'm off the clock.
I know, who would want to do it? That's what I kept saying. Who would want to do it on these dates, right?
Well, and to me, it seemed like it was one of those things that, how do you explain? It's almost like you're making fun of what I do because you just want me to show up in your house while you're having your little dinner party. Right. And do the thing, just do the thing that you do. It's because you're cute or whatever. Yeah. And I was just like, no, I do this professionally. I just didn't want it to be dumb or ridiculous, right? Uh-huh. But having
said
someone's
Christmas party or whatever,
right,
I fully agree.
Where you show up to somebody's Christmas party during COVID, and basically they're just going to ignore you and keep talking and smoking and drinking or whatever
so that they look good at the party.
So that they would look good at their party, right?
Could you wear antlers too? We just wanted
to something like that. And so I just didn't want it to be like that. So anyway, originally I had told your sister and whoever else who had tagged me, I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm off the clock. And the funny thing about what Trace is saying is that she's actually not wrong, I have to say. Because when I was in university, I actually paid for a good chunk of my university every Christmas by singing with a Dickensian caroler group all in the
And
full
did you
costume.
go door to door?
Yes, sometimes we would go door to door. Sometimes we were through the malls, or we were in seniors' homes,
this
or
I've
things like
seen.
that. Yeah,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. More of like a very small choir and
Yeah.
it's Christmas carol. I've seen
Yeah.
all that, and I love that.
Yeah.
I said that to her. Oh no, I can show you. I can take you to the orchestra. We can do all kinds of Christmassy things,
Yeah.
but they don't just knock on your door.
Not
Right?
anymore. They used to.
Yes.
they used to, and I used to.
80s.
So when I was again in university, a whole bunch of us semi-pro and pro singers, we'd have this big party in Rosedale every year.
Okay.
With a lady and her family who lived there, and we'd all go caroling, and that was the best because there were literally about 40 of us, all pretty decent singers, and we'd go door to door in Roseville or
Can you
Rosedale.
imagine
Sorry.
40 people show up at your house?
So we go to this one house, and we just stood on the porch and we would sing, and that was that, and we'd traipse along and drink our
But all
mulled
within the
wine,
same
and,
area.
all in the same area. We got to this one house, and the guy answers the door in a tuxedo, and he says, "Come on in," and we're like, we're looking around. You see how many of us there are? Yeah, come on in. All of us, all 35, 40 of us go in. It's Hal Jackman's house, the former lieutenant governor.
Really?
So we all walk into his place, and they're all...
And he's got people over.
Oh, yeah. It was so James Bond. They're all in tuxedos and gowns and smoking the long cigarettes and drinking the brandy. It
Right.
was, like you said, out of a movie. And we
That's
walked
fantastic.
in, and it was fantastic. And we sang, they said, "Oh, sing this," and then, "Oh, sing that." And we were like, okay. And so it was just such a cool little moment of being in there that you couldn't actually
just by
believe.
fluke.
Yeah, by fluke.
That's
and
amazing.
then as we were leaving, a friend of mine and I were the last two to leave, and he takes out his billfold, which is the size of my thigh, cash.
To
and
tip everybody.
to give me like $200.
Yeah.
And I'm 18 years old, 19 years old. And he goes, for whatever charity. And I said, "I'm sorry, we're actually just doing this for fun." He's like, "Really? You don't want any money?" "No, we're just doing this for fun." So Tracy wasn't entirely wrong that
Well,
people would sometimes go do that stuff for fun.
I think so too, and that's what I mean. But I think it was a different time. I don't think anybody. That's what I said. I don't think anybody knocks on anybody's door anymore unless you knew they were coming.
Yeah.
And
So-
I think she just, and that was the thing. I thought, who does that anymore?
Yeah.
And it was hard because I did my sister, and then it was
it was Whitney Barris.
because I thought,
Yeah.
who do I know that sings that might know singers? Because
Yeah.
I was trying to make it proper, and Whitney right away.
Well,
gave
and you know
me-
what I think is really cool about that is that we're trying to do this podcast, which is all about Uxbridge, and everybody always talks about how we all know each other and we're all connected and blah, 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 blah. But when Scott and I got together 7-8 years ago, or met several years ago, he said, "I don't know who you are." And I was like, "I don't know who you are." But we were well known in the things that we did.
Right.
And meeting you, I kind of sort of knew who you are, but didn't really know who
Yeah.
you are. But 1.2 million people know who you are.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of neat that you can start to make these other connections. So then,
100%.
so then you were like, "Oh, singing." So the fact that my name didn't come to mind means now I got to do more marketing.
No, your mind didn't come to mind to her, but you said you blew up on Facebook. What I thought was your reaction, like, "Oh, so they want me to carol. I'm not gonna." And then all of a sudden you find it's TikTok superstar Melissa.
That's not true. That's not true. So then you messaged me personally.
Yeah, I did.
And I knew who you were, but it wasn't like, "Oh, it's Melissa, it's my little fangirl thing." I thought, well, because your sister had looked for it, now you're looking for it. And I literally started typing, "No, I'm sorry, I'm off the clock." I literally, and then I deleted it and I asked you, "Well, what's it for?"
Right.
And you said it's for a surprise proposal. Okay, now you have my interest. I don't care about that. I didn't even wrap my head around the
Because
TikTok.
she said, "Just please tell them I was so chuffed. Just
Oh,
tell her." And I
it
was
was
like,
so
"She doesn't know
much
what
fun.
chuffed means, but I'll tell
I
her I
do.
was so happy."
I know what
because
chuffed
she
means,
was,
yeah.
she really initially didn't understand. Like she really didn't, and she was so into it, and I knew she'd be into it the second, right? She
Oh yeah.
opened
Well, the
door.
best part was you didn't see her come to the door.
No,
So
because
we were. Yeah,
I was
you were
trying to
behind
get the
her,
kids
right?
to start filming.
Yeah. So we see her come to the door. Debbie and Julian and I start giggling, and we already knew we had to keep it together once we knew you proposed. We're like, "Okay, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." And the funniest thing was when you said, "Well, I have 1.2 million."
Well, I just
TikTok
wanted to
viewers."
make sure because there's certain things that if I tell people ahead of time, if I film this, are you okay with this? I do have a lot of followers, because some people are like, no, I don't want that. Because even with some people that have been working on the house, I'm like, you're so talented, I would love to film it. Like, no, like,
So even when you say, well, it was Melissa, no, I thought she was talking about music. I thought you told me that because I had to clear the copyright for music. I didn't realize it was about...
Well, no,
like,
it is true about the copyright on music, because if you are singing something in the background, I have a chance of having that muted.
Yeah.
If it's not...
Right.
If
Christmas
it's not
Carol,
free,
Christmas
because they're
carols are so
old.
far out of copyright.
Yes.
There's no copyright to be had on
No,
that.
but I didn't think that was weird. That was true.
That was totally what came to mind for me. And then you were like, well, no, 100 people watching is different than 1 million people watching.
Because some people are like, I would do that, but not if it has a
I knew
chance.
exactly who to hire.
Well, and I was like, I wanted it to be proper and stuff, because I knew she would be like her dream come true, and that's what it was. Every day was like, oh, I would just love it. And I was like, they're not coming. And it was just like 2 weeks leading up. I kept saying, every time the door knocks, you go ahead and answer. You just keep you're gonna be here. She's like, I'll be so disappointed. And I'm like, honestly, in my whole life, I never had a caroler. So I guess keep hoping. And then knowing that you guys were coming.
That's great.
And then, it was a lot of fun. And she was just so into it. It wasn't until I think through the first song that she...
Halfway through Jingle Bells, she said that, wait a second, Melissa
she's
did
organized this.
Yes.
Yeah, because she didn't, because I was being kind of weird, obviously, because my kids were there. I asked them if they wanted to participate in it. They said yes. So I said, you're going to have to film it. Noah, you film from this one, Morgan this. And I said, start filming. And Morgan goes, oh, I don't have any memory on my phone. I was like, well, you guys were already at the door.
And that's when I killed him, Your Honor.
You gotta be kidding me. So I just handed her my phone.
Yes.
Because I was going to film a bit of her reaction to you guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I just gave my phone to my daughter. And so the two of them filmed, but my daughter, of course, at the last second, like literally you're at the door. But the best part was that you knocked at the door.
Yes.
And I heard it, but nobody else did.
I know, we knocked twice.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I was like, what do I do? Like, nobody's getting it.
Yeah.
I pay good money for this. Get up.
Did anybody hear that? And they were like, no. Okay. And you knocked again. It was super
Well, we
funny.
came, we saw, nobody answered the door, we left.
I was like, I can't believe they just knocked and nobody heard. Because I could clearly hear you knocking the first time. It was fine. And
Well,
then,
because you were waiting for it too, right?
well, and I was nervous. And then
you looked really nervous. The video that you posted, I was so excited to see the video after, because I wanted to see how you were going to put it all together and your reaction. But watching you,
I was
that
it was
like
a
from my
blackout.
vantage point, watching you and then watching the video after made my tummy twitch, because you looked like a cat on a hot tin roof. You were so nervous.
Felt like it was a blackout, because I knew as soon as you started singing the next song,
I can't go back.
I got to do this. Like, I got to do it. And then I thought time had lapsed. I felt like I blacked out. I was like, I don't know how long the song is, and if I'd miss it. And then when I had the ring behind my back, she's like getting annoyed. Like, why are you watching this? Like, what's going on? Like, why are you in and out? Because I had the ring in my daughter's bedroom and I'm trying to get it. And then she puts her arm around me and I've got the ring. And then I'm trying to hold it out and open it and it keeps shutting, right? Because I got the ring at Rutledge and he gives me this clasp and all this, like, not just like the movies where you just open. This one's got to have a latch and all this stuff. And I'm trying to move it and it keeps shutting. And I'm trying to open. It was just so much, At the same time, like, what's going on? The song's going to be over.
It was an absolute joy to be a part of it, though, and I'm so
awesome.
glad we connected, and I'm so glad we said yes. And Julian and Debbie, who sang with me, the three of us were also very chuffed.
It was so
do it.
awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you guys, it was so great because you had the song books. That was her. She's like, they had books.
She said the books and the little capes, and I'm like, well, they were dress codes.
Yeah,
but
I
if
know.
you want to think they're capes, then that's fine. I'm not going to ruin your dream. Next year, I am showing up in a cape.
No, she was over the moon. It was the best ever. It really was great. But again, I didn't think it was going to work out because if I hadn't found you, like, it was just going to have to be something completely different. So
press play.
Three homeless guys that are walking down the street.
Well, that's
Can
what
you
my
come over and
sisters-
sing here?
My sisters called me singing on speakerphone and they said, if you can't find anybody, we'll do it. And I was like, no, I'm good.
If you can't find
I'm doing
anybody.
it.
Bring
No, I'm
us
doing
some
it.
piggy pudding, and they're yelling in the phone. I'm like, no, it's fine. We'll just skip that.
I found Jennifer Nebu. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Okay, one of the things I like to ask all of our guests are big uh-oh moments or big disaster moments. So you choose whether it's laundry, home renovation,
TikTok.
or a TikTok filming moment.
Like where I have to do a retake. I retake everything. I mean, I have to do.
But has there been a
there's been a
disaster where like
moment.
something actually got destroyed or collapsed or...
I've hurt
or
myself so many times in TikToks.
Hurt yourself?
Oh, because I decided to do a break dance because I used to be able to break dance and I cannot do that anymore.
Oh.
But I believed that it was fine. It was going to be
Because you're
great.
not old.
You're on the next section.
I'm not old. I'm not
You're on the
middle-aged.
next section of the age.
I'm good. Come on, I could do a backspin. That doesn't hurt people. So I think this is going to be great. And I
You're in
do.
the next
I
section.
nearly killed myself. My neck's sore. I can't walk. It was horrendous. I couldn't do it. There's been lots of things that I've hurt myself. There was a trend that I ended up I couldn't do because I hurt myself so badly, and I was filming it. People want to see bloopers, but honestly, I can't. I was on the floor for so long, I don't know how to edit the film. So it was this Michael Jackson thing, super easy. All you had to do is go up on your toes. But apparently, when you're my age, that's also hard. And I didn't know. I thought I had watched it a million times. And I did it, and I fell, and I went about 20 feet and fell on my daughter's playhouse. I thought I broke my wrist. I'm laying on the floor. The filming's just going. It's just looping, and I'm laying on the floor moaning because there's nobody home. But yeah, I mean, I've had those moments where I've hurt myself, and you can't tell. And a lot of things take a lot of takes, but never, I mean, I haven't had anything.
Okay, the knife and the apple. How many takes?
Well, twice.
Yeah.
Because the first time I surprised myself on the first time that it worked so much that I just stared at the camera.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, well,
Hey, look what I can do.
yeah. But then when I tried it with the cock, it didn't work. I did it
No,
1,000
I saw the
times.
It wasn't
bloopers on
pointy
that,
enough.
I had a drill bit on the end of it.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
You just can't tell, but it still wouldn't go in. But the screwdriver was easy. I thought it was going to be way harder. But yeah, I mean, it's expensive because you use stuff. There's a lot of materials. There's a lot of things you have to buy. Like Amazon's every day delivering something because you're
For your TikTok.
it's part of your TikTok. Like it's part of something, or you need something, whatever it is, right? I mean, I just did one on sausage cock, which of course I just didn't have any sausage cock, and usually you have to get it from the States. That's kind of hard to come by here. So I had to wait for that to come in so I could do my sausage cock
So
video.
you just bought this for the TikTok. You had no reason.
I do, but I just didn't have any sausage cock. 'Cause I'm not doing any big jobs, right? So
right.
usually you do it like you'd buy it in a case.
Right. Okay, of course. Why just buy one tube?
I always get my
for a
sausage
TikTok
cock.
video? Yeah.
Right, so I had to get like one tube, of course, because I thought, okay, finally I'll do this, because people were liking the cock content last week. So I was just kind of doing a string of that. So I thought, well, I'll just order some sausage and then I'll do a video on that. Because it is hard to keep it fresh. I mean, how many times can you talk about cock? You know what I mean? Clearly a lot. But...
when we talk about fine motor skills, I can't, like, you did that one with the rag, and you're like, you just, nice clean finger, and you're making this smooth line. I'm like, come on, that's just not fit. No, I can't. Mine would be like, it'd be like some sort of
I know.
Jackson
It's true, I
Pollock
know.
painting when I do that
and then
stuff.
there are some fine details that are more difficult for some. But yeah, I mean, it's just my thing. I don't know.
I think one of the things I like about watching, and maybe this is part and parcel to why a lot of people, and maybe you said specifically straight women like it, is because there's actually something really gratifying about seeing something done so perfectly and so right. It's like it speaks to your
There is
OCD
a lot
element of, oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little bits and pieces that all kind of work together. I think that a lot of people like to watch something being done. I mean, I get that comment a lot. I love watching this. This feels safe. I feel so comforted. And I'm looking at 4 loads of laundry unfolded beside me in baskets, right? Because it's not necessarily that you're going to fold your shirt that way. It's just kind of relaxing to watch somebody else do it. And that's one of the other things. I mean, that I don't look the part. I don't look like June Cleaver. So it blows people's minds because like that doesn't fit. She doesn't, what's going on here? They understand when I do the construction side. They get that because I look like I should be doing construction. That's what I look like. But I don't look like Martha Stewart. I don't look like June Cleaver. So it's this weird mix. And then you have to remember that TikTok has changed the world in terms of the LGBTQ. It just has. There are so many people in such small towns that didn't even know that lesbians existed or anything. Trans, lesbian, like never even heard of
hurt you.
Right.
They're just gonna fold your laundry.
We just look like regular people. I shop at the same grocery store. We go to the same post office. It's all the same.
Thank goodness you shop at the store, because if Tracy shops at the store, she can't go home.
She can never get home. She's trapped there.
You did a folding sheet, or a folded sheet, fitted folding sheet. A folding fitted sheet. I got there.
Yes, folded fitted
folded
sheet.
fitting sheet. Oh, Christ.
That is a
Folding fitted sheet.
Do it 3 times fast.
Yes.
Folding fitted sheet. Okay, and I detected a little bit of pissiness in your tone. And was it because... So you talked about, okay, so ladies, lesbians are over here, and you straight gals are over here.
And I've done that one before, and it was a huge success.
Yeah.
It had several million views, but I rewrote it. I changed it.
It was when you said, and the inappropriate sexual comments.
Yes.
But there was almost a snarl to your tone. And so one of the things that has always grinded my gears about social media is the fact that women, specifically straight women in a straight relationship, will give their husbands, boyfriends hell for commenting on good-looking women or strippers or celebrities or whatever. And yet there's this double standard of Chippendales, woohoo, take the panties off. And that upsets me really badly.
It does. It's just because I recognize it now, and I didn't understand it at the beginning because yes, it's such a double standard. Because if you look at someone like Whitey, and I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's the new TikTok sensation that came on the scene. He picks 80s music to badly lip sync to. He's so handsome, but he's like 20.
Okay.
And all these middle-aged women are fawning over him. He got 2 million followers in like a week. And I have duetted him several times. It's just his face. That's all he does. He'll sing 2 lines to a Phil Collins song. And they're like, oh, and they make all these inappropriate comments. And they're inappropriate because what makes them inappropriate is that was a 20-year-old girl and middle-aged men were making those exact same comments, it would not be okay.
Yeah.
Right? But it is because of the women. It's the same thing with me. You know, I do laugh about the comments. It really took me back the first few times. But if a man was making those comments towards a woman, no matter how old she was, it would be deemed as inappropriate. So therefore, it is inappropriate. So I constantly get the water droplet emojis, which if you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't know, that's fine. Just keep it that way.
Yeah.
Or I need help. I've just flooded the basement. But no man would ever say that, right? And you're a woman who's straight, right? But you're discovering this, and somehow there's this it's okay thing, like it's cute. Because there's a lot of misconception around the fact that the LGBTQ is very accepted, right? But there's also this, it's like this, it's a weird, is it accepted or is it just trendy?
But wouldn't it just still bug you about being objectified regardless of whether it's a lesbian, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman?
To a degree, but I have to be reasonable.
Right.
Okay, I have to be reasonable. No, I don't get upset by it because I seductively fold laundry to music with eye contact. I wink. I do certain smoothing techniques. Yes, so there's
an invitation.
100%. But it's just like it is funny.
Yeah.
It's really to be more entertaining. But there are some comments that are a little much. Now, I laugh at the ones that are like, my husband and I aren't that serious. They're cute. Those are funny. But then there are other ones that are just a little bit much. Because if it was reversed, it would be unacceptable. Yeah, it's tricky. But again, it's like, it's also trendy. It's also... I don't know what it is. It's like they've never seen us before. So they're like, whoa, what is this? Why am I married to a man? Like, why am I married? Because in fairness, when my ex and I were together, she would have parties and she was a teacher and the teachers would come over and they'd go, whoa, I need to be married to a lesbian. Right? And I would say, but not all lesbians do this. Not all lesbians do the home repairs. Not all of us. It's just some of us, right? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Right? I don't necessarily know that the house being nice or the house being whatever, or the clothes being folded means that I'm a great lesbian. That's what I do, right? It's just so it's
just me.
It's tricky, but I think that a lot of people will watch TikToks and think like, why the hell am I married to a man? What's the point, right? Because they don't know what they're doing in many aspects.
I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet. Go ahead, carry on.
Yeah, I don't mean to offend you, but yeah, no,
okay.
they were more attentive in many ways as women and more familiar with women as being women. And so they know that. The secret's out, right?
I do the editing. This is gone.
I can't wait to listen to this. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just this thing, and it's crazy.
Next question.
I did not understand it when this first came out. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. But it is fun. But it's just there is a line, and you have to remember. I do notice now that people are saying no disrespect to Tracy, but you're hot.
I was going to say, are there any detrimental effects that you're feeling on your relationship?
No.
No.
And I think a lot of people asked that. A lot of people did ask if TikTok was the reason my last relationship ended, which absolutely not. No. Especially with my ex. Like, she was the most understanding and flexible. She was the best. Like, she just would let me do TikToks as much as I wanted. She would do everything, so I had time. She was amazing.
No, and it's a fair question. Facebook was a huge source of discontent with my former husband and I, and he actually blocked me while we were married because he was so upset with my use of social media.
Yes.
So there's certainly an element that can be detrimental to and if you're one of the partners is being hit on all the time, and obviously she's comfortable enough with herself and confident enough in her relationship with you that she doesn't have to feel threatened by anything.
And I think that you have to be transparent too, because you are within a relationship, and you have to remember that this is social media. Certainly.
Yeah, it's not real.
So, like, I'm not, secretly DMing people, and for it's nothing like that. But I mean, you get. And then I did do a video when I accidentally put my phone number on the TikTok. Oops. So that was a huge problem because my dog had just had surgery. I just posted the video. I have just always had this funny thing on my thing, and I did a screen recording of it, which again, that even came to bite me because it was just a joke. I'm obsessed with Sister Wives, the show.
Okay.
So I put my religious views as a polygamist 10 years ago when I started watching the show. So I'm obsessed with it. I just love that show. And so I did a video on TikTok pointing to that. But what I didn't realize is it was my Facebook. So it showed my phone number. Whoops. Dog comes back from surgery. I'm dealing with the dog. I'm sitting with the dog. So an hour later, my phone's ringing off the hook. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm on call, but not like this. And then I realized I've posted it. I mean, I was getting... And I would answer it, and people would like freak out, right? Because then I thought, oh, this is fun. Let's do this.
You're a real person. I got to talk to you.
So I would answer it once in a while if it was FaceTime, whatever. And then my partner sometimes would get upset with it because she's like, seriously,
we're just watching a movie here.
Yeah. And I was like, no, and I would never do it then. But just sometimes she'd just be aggravated because the people are saying stuff. And I get that because if they're like, you're so hot. Whatever. But yeah.
Yes, I am.
So,
yes, thank you for calling.
It's so strange. So I would just like, whatever. And I didn't do too many of that. But most of them were text. I just couldn't. I couldn't keep up with it. It was like thousands a day. And then it would slow. And then it would come up. It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
We're going to do rapid fire.
Okay. Yeah.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Winter or summer?
Winter.
Oh, sorry, Tracy.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Favorite color?
Orange.
Favorite food?
Pancakes.
Perfect.
It is.
Favorite restaurant in town?
One-Eyed Jacks.
Your favorite word?
My favorite word. Chuffed. Jumper. I don't know.
Jumper and tie.
Does the Jeep have a boot?
Well, that's just it. Yeah. I've had a lot of flack about my accent. I didn't even know we had an accent.
I know. Least favorite word?
I don't know. I have so many. How about member? When people forget to say the member, when they say it quickly, or library. Those are my least favorite words.
Library? Mispronounced.
Let's just go with mispronounced.
Nuclear?
Yeah, lots. There's so many. I could come up with a list of 100 for you.
Your favorite sound?
I don't like any sounds. I have like a really weird sensory thing, so repeated sounds. I can't even stand it. Babies. Let's say that.
Your least favorite sound?
Repetitive. Anything, a smoke detector with a battery out. It's the repetition. I can't.
That's really interesting. So those are two new questions on this rapid fire segment that we're trying to do. And we got those two off of, I can't remember the interviewer, but he was interviewing Jennifer Aniston. And he said the same thing. He said, favorite sound. And she said a child laughing.
Oh.
And then the least favorite, or the thing that she doesn't like the most, and it was a car alarm. So they're almost
You and Jennifer Aniston
There
you
have
go.
similar answers. Look
Yeah,
at that.
no, that's funny because and it was when I was doing my ADD assessment. She had a sound machine. It was doing waves, and I was like, "You need to turn that off." She's like, "I always have it on." I was like, "It needs to be off. I can't," because it's just like. I was like,
So the ocean trips for you
anything.
are like out.
If it was natural, I just don't want repetitive. It can't like a car alarm.
Right.
It's fine if it goes off. But 20 seconds, I want to go out there and
Like
I wanna-
anyone
And
else.
stab you like
I
an
just want to
apple.
disconnect it myself. I want to.
Like anyone else,
Yeah.
I think, though.
Yeah.
Your favorite smell?
Pumpkin,
Your least favorite smell?
pine.
Really?
Yeah, it's the worst. They
Bring
absolutely
the carolers,
worst.
get rid of the Christmas tree. Yeah.
The worst.
Who are you the fangirl to on TikTok?
Hannah Bread Talk. She's one of my faves.
Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
What makes you happiest?
My kids.
What makes you cry?
Not a lot.
Not a
I
lot?
don't cry. Death, I suppose.
If you were to totally change careers, you give up home improvement, you give up laundry, you give up TikTok, what do? What's your new career?
I'd be an interior designer. That's what I think I'd do.
It's the same.
Home renovation. You couldn't do home renovations. Well, I would design them then. That's,
I do. I think that's what I would do. Yeah. That's boring.
if you could talk to anyone who is living today, who would it be?
Sinead O'Connor.
Okay, why?
Well, I've just loved her since forever, and I know that she suffers from a lot of mental health. I just find her really interesting, a better experience. I've loved her. I love her music, but just her story I find interesting. I think she gets a bad rap for a lot of stuff. She's recently lost her son. Yeah, that's who. I just love her, and I would love to know more.
If you could talk to anyone who's passed away now, who would it be?
My mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom just passed away a couple years ago, and yeah, it's always that one more conversation. If I could
Yeah.
just have one, I didn't answer the last text she sent me, so yeah, it would definitely be my mom. Yeah.
If God exists and you die, what would you expect or want God to say?
You did good. That's what I think. You did okay. Yeah.
This has been great. This is I know you and I went to high school, sort of. I was ahead of you and you were behind, but it was interesting to watch your TikTok video. I remember the first one where you're talking about the cards and you're flipping them, and I'm looking at them, I know her. Then to watch you get picked up and to see the connection that you and Jennifer have with your engagement. And I watched that video, and I've seen a lot of stupid videos where people are proposing or whatever, and I very rarely get emotional on that, and that was really neat, the whole thing. And not just that my wife was involved, but that you two had that moment, and it was neat to watch. So thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
Thanks
it was
for coming
it was
over.
great. It was, it was like I said, the proposal was awesome, and I couldn't have done that without you. But it's been neat. Like, we live in the same town our whole lives, but we don't necessarily
New connections are always good, right?
Yeah. So
when's the wedding?
we don't know yet. We are trying to figure out what we're doing, and
It's not gonna be the winter, I'll tell you that much.
I said
She
that
can't
to
wear
her.
flippy floppies in the winter.
I said that to her. We won't do winter. It's fine. So yeah, and then she wants me to go back to Australia. So at some point, and I don't fly.
We'll
So
just knock you out.
I've tried that.
Really?
That don't do well.
It's that
on
bad,
me.
eh?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the course. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. I always laugh because my niece is a flight. My family owns Getaway Travel in Uxbridge,
Okay.
and so it's been a bad couple of years. But my niece is a flight attendant, and then her boyfriend is a pilot. And I thought, this is perfect. And I talked to him. He's gonna straighten me out because I know it's illogical. And I said to him, and he said, what do you need? Like, tell me what you're afraid of. And I said, well, I guess it's turbulence. I don't know. I just don't want to die. I don't want it to drop out of the air. He goes, turbulence it's air pockets. I don't even necessarily know when we're going to hit turbulence. Like sometimes what you would consider turbulence, I wouldn't even think of, if I know it's going to be something big, I'll let everybody know. But he said, that's nothing. Listen, if you want to worry about something, you worry about fire and running out of fuel, because I tell you, those things scare the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just made it worse. I never thought about a fire. He goes, I fly the plane every time because I am so afraid we're going to run out of gas. I'm like, what? Thank you very much. Now I have to take the course twice. I can't even. Yeah.
I have a family friend who's an air traffic controller, and if we're ever going away, we never talk to him for months. Just before the trip.
Because it's like they tell you all their worst things that you would have
There are
never
things that
even
are happening
thought of.
you have no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that was dumb. Now I'm taking the course.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just been,
I was
Now
on a
gotta go
flight back from Jersey to Toronto about, 15, 16 years ago, and by myself, and just happened to be sitting beside a gentleman who was a pilot, a commercial pilot, and he had just come from an interview. He was trying to change
like another
companies,
air
whatever.
company, yeah.
Another carrier, that's right. And it was the most turbulent flight I've ever been on, and it was so just coincidental
It's a pretty
that
short flight.
It was a really short flight, and I was sitting beside this guy who just talked me through the whole thing. And he told me where to look and what was going to happen next and what the pilot was going to do and how it was going to feel. And it was such a blessing.
See, that's what I feel like I need.
And that's what I needed at that right point. And then the best part was when we got off the plane, I don't even remember this guy's name, was that he had all of the fancy ways to get through all the security. And
So
he was
you got
about
there quick?
7 feet tall too. And he would just go, come with me, come with me. And I just I felt like a little tiny puppy trying to keep up with
And
them
you
the
just
whole
zipped
time.
through, no
we
problem.
just zipped through everywhere. And then we got through, picked up our bags and said goodbye. And that was that. I never saw him again. Don't even remember his name. But it was like the best thing I needed to deal with that fear was just somebody who was educated to help me understand logically that it was okay.
Because it's illogical, right? And everybody knows the statistics, right? That you're much more likely in a car. Well, fine, except for fears are illogical. Sometimes I think, well, maybe it's like sitting in the back of a car. Like maybe if I could sit in the cockpit and I could see ahead, I'd be fine. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Cockpit visits are offering gone since September 11th. That's
what I mean. Like, I don't know what it is. I think to myself, oh, it's terrible. But anyways, so I have to be prepared for this 24-hour flight.
So you're looking for more followers? How would somebody, if they had TikTok, could find you?
It's just my name, which really is only my TikTok name because that was what I started on Facebook, and I only used my maiden name because so people can find you from high school. But it's Melissa Dilks Pateras, and I've actually gone public on Instagram as well now, so it's the same name on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
So there you go. Social media queen, home renovator. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations. That's episode 6. Statistically speaking, most podcasts end up folding up after the 7th episode. So we've got one more episode to do and then we can retire.
We can't retire. We have to go past the 7th episode and then we'll be better than average.
Better than average. It's our new slogan now. We're okay. We're better than average. I can put that on a t-shirt.
But you have to admit, who is definitely better than average is Melissa Pateras.
Absolutely. In fact, she has changed so many things about the way you're doing things now. I walk into the laundry room and I see in our closet all of our hand towels and washcloths are all rolled up nice and neat and everything's all folded up nicely. And your grocery bags are folded. You've actually folded your grocery bags.
I have to say that was a really cool pro tip she shared, and it works a lot. It helps a lot because they're well preserved. They don't get all mucky and gross with
well-preserved grocery bags.
Like, we have pets, and so if you just leave them all yucky around, then the pet fur gets on them and stuff, and now they're all nice and neat, and I can put them in the bin, and okay, but I still can't fold a fitted sheet.
Folding a fitted sheet. Life goals. They're full. You know what? I'd be happy if when we pulled the fitted sheet out, if we could figure out which way it was supposed to go on the bed first. When we actually
Maybe she has a tip for that too, because I can guarantee you I will get it wrong every single time.
Yeah. Folding a fitted sheet. Actually, we got to learn how to even be able to say folding fitted sheet. And
folding fitted sheet.
We'll
sheet.
keep working on
we
that.
had trouble with that in the episode too.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
So you've got a YouTube channel that you created.
We do. I do. We do.
You're working on it, but yeah.
And so we're not going to have any live material of video from the actual interviews that we're going to be doing, but we will have all sorts of relevant photos and I guess whatever other information or stills that we can provide to at least give some video backup. I know a lot of people like to watch their podcasts maybe when they're on the treadmill and it just gives them something to look at, but they don't need to look at us. We're gonna put all sorts of stuff on there that has to do with the episode and the guests, but not about us.
Yeah, I've got the standard joke is, you've got a face for radio, and that's pretty much me. You'd be fine, but I think I don't know. Somehow Howard Stern's on video. I personally don't think he's the best looking guy on the face of the earth, but don't hold me to that. But yeah, I think we're gonna we'll stay with audio for now. Now we're keeping on track with this. You and I sort of made a deal when we started. We were going to try to make this more as present day as we could. We weren't going to talk about this is what's happening this week or last week or anything. But as of this week, I'm going to break the rule. I'm going to say I am graduating from radio broadcasting, the program from Seneca College this week, and that will give us a lot more time. So get ready. We're going to go way past beyond the 7th episode. We're having so much fun doing this.
We're going to be so beyond average.
Yeah, we're beyond average. That's a better t-shirt. That's a better
From a B- to a B+. Look at us go. Congratulations to you on the graduation. And this has been quite the couple of years for you. You've done great. But look at now what we can apply to these podcasts. They are so much fun. So who's next?
Bob Rufo.
Bob Rufo. Oh my goodness. What a gem. So if you don't know anything about our buddy Bob, he is just such an inspiration, and we're so excited that he sat down and took the time to chat with us. You don't want to miss that episode. He's just a whole lot of fun, a health and fitness guru at the end of his career, and lots of little nuggets of wisdom to share with us.
The time that he spends in the gym with me. So this just recently started a few months ago that he's always been in the gym working out, or I used to joke because he'd have these people following him around working out with him, and I'd say they were Bob's disciples, and now I'm one of the disciples. I go around and he shows me stuff as far as strength training and this guy has so much knowledge. I think he's forgotten more about weight training than I could ever know. So this is going to be a great interview.
We're so blessed to have had that time with him. So thank you for listening. Please join us for the next one, and look for the next YouTube episode as well.
Yeah, and don't forget to like it, or what I was going to say, like and subscribe. Yeah, like and subscribe for YouTube, but join in on the Facebook group, because we want to hear from you. We've got about 300 members right now, and every time we get to connect with the community is a major plus of doing this whole thing. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much. This has been a Capsule Broadcasting production. We're beyond average.